Hey, what's going on? It is 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Charisma. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate, where every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern, we're here to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry. And one of those things that you might be wondering in maybe a world that has gone more digital, at least temporarily, if not for the long term, how you can generate leads from anywhere in the world. Whether that be from your office or from your home or from a beach or a hotel room or wherever it is that you have an internet connection. And not only can you do this from anywhere, but this is where you start to get into the, I don't want to say set it and forget it part of your business, because if you forget about this, you'll end up messing it up. This does require constant attention to be done effectively to make sure you can grow this even bigger. But using advertising, especially online digital marketing, you have the ability to develop something that works while you sleep. Do you have anything right now that works for you while you're sleeping? Do you have anything creating business for you while you sleep? Because a effective digital marketing strategy does exactly that. And this is something that's important in any market, in really any business. If any business has not been doing digital marketing and all of a sudden they're having to figure out digital marketing, it's not too late. You can still figure out digital marketing. There's tons of information out there. And what I want to do today is dive in a little bit deeper, because last week we also did another episode, the part one of this whole online marketing, about getting business from the internet. Whether that's through Facebook, Instagram, I don't know, maybe still Twitter or Snapchat or these oddball like platforms, maybe even TikTok, who knows? Look, we're not going to talk about these experimental platforms. We're going to talk about what's tried and true for advertising, and not just how you would set up an ad through, let's say, Google or the Facebook Instagram network, the Google YouTube network, the Facebook Instagram network. Those are the two I would really focus on for advertising if you're new to advertising, just because they're the two biggest ones out there and they have the largest market share. They have the largest pool of potential customers for you, and you could get these customers very cheaply if you know what you're doing. This, if done correctly, can be the most effective method for generating leads. Right now, it's one of the top methods for generating leads, just while everything is, put on hold while we distance and stay home and all that type of stuff. But look, you got your computers at home, you got your tablets at home, you got your phones at home. You could be using this digital marketing to reach other people at home through their computers, tablets, and phones. And what works so well about this is all the data you're able to collect to be able to better understand your potential customers and be able to better serve your potential customers, because you know the information and the services it is that they are desiring. So that's what we're covering today on this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Charisma, super excited to be talking about marketing with you today. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate.
You are watching Ask the Instructor. Absorb the knowledge. Become the expert.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Charisma, and in addition to considering myself fairly knowledgeable in real estate, maybe you do as well, maybe not, I'll prove that to you though in due time, but one of the other things I consider myself fairly knowledgeable in is digital marketing. It's one of the other things that I'm extremely passionate about, and especially when you could couple that with other extremely powerful industries like real estate. The money that could be made using digital marketing and real estate in this combination in tandem together is ridiculous, because digital marketing and the internet allow you to reach a massive amount of people. It gives you a platform to reach the entire planet. Think back 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Did every single person with a phone have the ability to reach the entire planet almost instantly? Or at least that's what it seems like, almost instantly. But then you go to try to do this and you realize that you go start a Facebook Live and not everybody in the entire world is tuned in to your Facebook Live. You know, I think, oh wow, look at all these people that are tuning in here that we're helping understand real estate, helping understand marketing and whatnot. And I saw a post from, I think, Will Smith of him and P. Diddy doing a live stream where they got like 100,000 people on their live. I'm like, man, all right, well, even Will Smith and P. Diddy, they're not reaching the whole planet. So you've got to be really intentional about your strategy to get your content in front of the right people, in front of your target audience. So I really want to start out with just some key terms here so you guys could speak this language as we go through this for online marketing. So a few different things. You've got your target audience. This one isn't really unique to digital marketing, but it's something that's extremely important that you define. If you just go out there and try to speak to the masses, if you try to speak to the planet, look, here's the problem. Even if you did have all 7 billion people on the planet tuned into your live stream or whatever it is, you're seeing your post, they don't all speak English. You might speak English. There's a large population in the world that speaks English, but there's a very large population that does not. They wouldn't even understand what it is that you're saying. And then at the same time, if you take that same concept that, okay, maybe they're not speaking the same physical language being English, but what if you're speaking to people about selling a home when they don't even own a home? Maybe a few people might find the content interesting because maybe someday they want to own a home and they want to know about selling it, but the majority of people that aren't interested in selling a home aren't going to be interested in information about selling a home if they don't even own a home. So that's all about defining your target audience. And every campaign, so that's another phrase I'll use a lot, campaign. And a campaign is a strategy with a goal. A targeted strategy with a goal, where each campaign would have its own target audience. And thinking of target audiences just to kind of go general and more vague, and you could refine these further based on, again, specifically the type of person it is that you want to target and the capabilities of these different ad platforms to be able to target stuff like that. Geographically is definitely a way you could eliminate a lot of people. You don't want to speak to the entire planet, because if you're just here in Florida, well, you're only licensed in Florida. And yes, there might be people moving from other parts of the world to Florida, and you might have some niche strategy to contact them. So for example, again, going back to the language thing, maybe English isn't your only language. Maybe you speak a secondary language. And there might be people in other parts of the world that speak that secondary language that are maybe interested in purchasing or investing in real estate in Florida. So that might be a particular campaign that you have. You might develop a campaign for overseas buyers from a particular area. Maybe you speak German and you want to target German-speaking areas, maybe primarily Germany, where people would speak German. And then whatever other areas that might speak German, you might target a strategy about to them for people that are interested in investing in real estate in Florida. And this is how you develop these strategies, you develop these campaigns. Now, the messaging that you would have where you might be speaking German to people in Germany, that's great for people in Germany for that strategy, for that campaign. But if you try to use that same campaign for a target audience that's here in Tampa or wherever it is that your market is, well, that's not going to make any sense at all. Why would you even speak in German if the primary language where you're targeting is English? Or maybe, again, you're targeting all kinds of different ways it is that you can package together the right information to the right people. That's really what the target audience and the campaign is all about, is getting the right info to the right people. There's probably not just one service that you perform. That's the mistake a lot of, not just real estate professionals, but businesses in general. But let's focus on real estate, because that's probably what you are. You're aspiring to be a real estate professional. If you just try to advertise real estate services, like the postcard, trademark, worst ad/post you could make, and I'll be honest, I think I've made one of these posts at some point in my real estate career. And a lot of people might when they're starting a real estate career, or they're maybe new to some sort of social network or something like that, where they say something like, hey, If you need to buy or sell, send me a message. If you have real estate questions, send me a message. Okay. That's not targeted at all. There's no targeting whatsoever. Now, when you say real estate, people might be thinking about a lot of things related to real estate. Things that might pertain maybe for a real estate attorney, or things that might pertain to a lender, or things that might pertain to maybe more so an appraiser, or things that pertain to these other sectors that the public might be confusing when you say real estate. So you got to get more specific. Almost niche is another word that I want to put up here. The niche is really who the target audience is. And the key thing about a niche is that it's specific. It's specific, it's well defined, that you've identified, okay, that I want to target a certain zip code. Let's start with something like that. Let's say, let's build a generic strategy here. And then we'll talk about some of the ways it is that you can deliver this information, because this isn't just about running an ad one time and hoping somebody calls you and says, hey, I need to make the biggest purchase in my life or the biggest sale of my life. They don't just call you and say, hey, I'm ready to sign paperwork right now. I saw one ad about you and I'm sold. There was one image on Facebook that popped up that said you sold a property, so I'm already sold on you. And this might happen. This may have happened to you before. And if it hasn't happened to you, it may still someday happen to you. But this is like hitting the lottery. Except for maybe the odds are a little bit better than winning the Powerball or winning millions in the lottery. This is something that can happen, but it's extremely rare. Because what the typical type of transaction, or leading up to the typical transaction, there's a lot of research. So consumers with the internet, everybody becomes a researcher. Google has taught us how to become researchers. Google has made it easy for us to seek out the information that we desire. Now, Google has made that easy, but there's so much information out there. The hard part now becomes sorting through which information is directly applicable to myself as the consumer searching the internet for this information. So people are already trying to do their research. If they're thinking about buying, so let's say, again, build out this profile for a ad campaign, and we'll just start naming off some things here so we can define our target audience. And if you've ever used the Facebook ad platform, they've got a really great set of tools for planning this out, where you could start to plug in some of these parameters. And they've even got you covered on all the fair housing stuff in there. Now, you might still make a fair housing mistake, but they should catch it. So even if you're worried about, am I going to break the law doing an ad on Facebook, they won't let you. We get ads flagged because we constantly run ads all the time on Facebook, on Google, on YouTube. We're very familiar with these platforms. And we get a lot of false positives with ads where we have to go manually get them reapproved. So don't worry about you breaking the law. Facebook, they don't want any more bad press about them. So they're very strict with making sure that if anything potentially is violating maybe a fair housing law or something like that, that you're going to get notified about it. And they're not going to run your ad. So the legal side of it, yeah, keep in mind everything. Always double check with an attorney and double check the laws and blah, 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 blah. Legal disclaimers, this is not legal advice. So if you do get in trouble for this, you should have known better because you learned that fair housing stuff in your pre-licensing course. But just in case you make a mistake, they should catch it. And if not, if you're concerned about it, again, check with these other sources. But anyways, let's define out a profile. So maybe we start off just with identifying a zip code. This is one of the first things that you could do with pretty much any advertising platform, is you could pick a zip code. Now, what zip code do you pick? Do you just pick a zip code that you like? No, you want to do your research. If you've ever seen any of the episodes we've ever done on farming. So farming is an old school word for advertising in real estate. And the story goes that like a farmer plants a seed, but then has to go nurture that crop. If a farmer just plants a seed and they walk away for 6 months and come back, is there going to be just this bountiful harvest just sitting there waiting for them? No. The farmer has to nurture those seeds. You don't just run one ad. You don't just communicate with that potential consumer once, because if the farmer just goes and throws a bunch of seeds in the field, there might be one or two plants that sprout up, but you're really relying on luck. You're really relying on other forces to bring you business rather than taking control of that yourself. So you could take control of this yourself by implementing an intentional strategy to nurture your clients, because again, they want information, but you've got to find out, okay, what information do they need? And so picking out a zip code. When you're trying to find a zip code that you want to target, a geographic area that you want to target, and you might be able to target even finer than just a zip code. You maybe are going to drop a pin and then do a little radius around a certain address or something like that. There's a lot of strategies you could implement with different campaigns. But let's say whether it's a zip code or whatever the specific area is, and always try to go smaller in your areas rather than larger, because then you could make your ad campaigns more specific to the people it is that you're reaching in that area with information that pertains more to that area. So you look at these zip codes and areas, and number one thing it is that you want to look for is turnover. What is turnover? It's the percentage of properties selling out of the total number of properties in the neighborhood. Because what turnover tells you is the likelihood that there will be sales in the neighborhood. You're using the data of sales in the neighborhood to predict future sales, which it's not a perfect system, but it's one of the top predictors of whether or not you're going to get a good return on investment by advertising to a particular geographic area. Is, okay, what percentage of homes are being sold? So you take the number of sales and you divide it by the total number of homes. The sales divided by homes. And then that'll give you a percentage that you could compare to other neighborhoods. And the higher that percentage is, means the higher the number of sales per number of homes. Meaning more likely that there's going to be more sales in areas that have higher turnovers. Again, that's not always true 100% of the time, but it holds fairly true most of the time. And all this stuff, you're doing testing and tracking and analyzing. That's the beauty of online marketing, is you could do all this stuff digitally to where you could fingerprint every step of the process, where you could see where a person read this article, watched this video, went on this page, filled out this contact form, and you could realize what in your system and what in your business actually works. And then when you figure out what works, what do you want to do? You want to do more of what works. But you've got to get something working at first. And finding an area that has turnover is essential. If the area does not have good turnover, it's probably not going to be a good place to advertise to. Now, another thing it is that you could maybe target here is, let's say that this area, because turnover is one of the things you would really be important if you're going to try to find sellers. But let's say you're maybe trying to find buyers. And you should run strategies for both. Because depending on what the market is doing, the market's either going to be better for sellers or the market's going to be better for buyers. One of those statements is always true. It's very rarely an equilibrium. It's always leaning one way more or the other. And it's just the question of, is it a better market for sellers or is it a better market for buyers? And so if you're constantly running ad strategies to get both, because in any market there's going to be sellers and there's going to be buyers, it's just in certain markets there's more sellers or more buyers, depending again on the type of market. So let's talk about a more kind of specific campaign where you could really get targeted, again, really get into niche. And it makes me think about it, seeing this background we've got up here. So we've got this apartment building. This apartment building here in this background. So say that these are apartment buildings, and these are good-looking apartments. These look like they're on the upper end of pricing for an apartment, more like a luxury apartment. And luxury apartments are a great target for potential buyers. And so why would luxury apartments, and now, so how do we target luxury apartments online? Well, what you could do, especially if you find one that's big enough, you gotta be creative. You've got to be creative and be able to hack your way into getting these online systems to do what it is that you want them to do. And when I say hack your way into it, I don't mean you have to go learn code and sit there and type a bunch of random things that hopefully do something. It's that you learn how to work these little systems. You learn how to do radius targeting. Radius targeting is where, again, you drop a pin and you say, okay, within a half mile of this area. So maybe there's an area with a lot of apartments. You see that a lot where there's apartments that are clustered together, especially in Tampa. I know of a couple places where there's a few different apartment buildings all clustered together with not much ownership interest around whatsoever. So the majority of the people, just by targeting a certain radius, by putting a certain address, 123 Main Street, and then saying within half a mile or within 1 mile or within 2 miles, or again, however it is that you're targeting, and you could see, again, this information in there that gives you how many people are in there, how many people you'd expect to reach, how much this is going to cost you. Now, okay, let's say we really dialed in the targeting to make sure that our ad is only showing to renters. We've dialed in the targeting, and the targeting constantly changes. There's constantly new data that Facebook's bringing in, maybe data they got in trouble for, so they got to say, oh, nope, can't do that anymore, can't have that data in there, we can't use that data. So depending on when you're watching this, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this years from now, there's all kinds of targeting stuff that's constantly in flux in the Facebook ad platform, as well as Google. It doesn't seem to change as much with Google, but Facebook, they're constantly changing what you get targeted and whatnot, which is why it's so important that you keep attention on this. With digital marketing, the ecosystem, the platforms are constantly changing, the market's constantly changing, and an ad that worked for you 6 months ago might not still be working today. Maybe it just got stale, maybe there's other people using that same ad copy you're using, and so that's where you might realize that, okay, this ad isn't producing as many results, so you go in there and you tweak that ad. You maybe turn off that ad, you maybe adjust the parameters on who sees that ad, you might increase or decrease the budget for that ad based on how many leads it's generating for you. And all this can be tracked, so you can very easily identify where your business is coming from. And the tracking stuff can get technical. That could get really technical for setting that up, and that's why I recommend getting a platform, some sort of platform that has this tracking integrated into it already, that integrates directly into these ad platforms. That'll make it a little bit easier for you. Now, that you usually can't do as much with that, but it's a good starting point. You don't want to jump into the deep end down this here. You want to get in there and you don't want to learn to swim quickly, but you don't want to go drowned right away when you go into this. So ease yourself into this and start by just laying out a strategy. So again, we're targeting renters. Now, a renter might be a renter and not a buyer, not an owner, for a lot of reasons. And this is what you've got to define in order to develop ad copy that resonates with that potential prospect. You have to develop the messaging that this is a model that I can't remember when this originally came out. It's been around probably, I would say, at least the 60s, if not earlier. It's this model of, the acronym is ADA. And this goes back again, like I said, to like at least the 60s, if not earlier, because this is originally something that was used in print and direct mail advertising. Imagine a letter. You might have, if you think way back to when there's letters that would come in the mail trying to sell you stuff, a lot of times they use this format. And this format still works to this day. And really the thing I like about it right from the get-go is this attention. That's the number one thing. Before any of this other stuff comes into play, before we even worry about the rest of our ad, we've got to first grab attention. So how do we grab attention? Think of like these clickbaity type of headlines you see that newspapers have gotten really good at. Newspapers are extraordinary at making a headline that almost sensationalizes a topic, where they might go deeper into detail in the article, but the most attention-grabbing thing is the headline. And they've picked that up from advertisers. Advertisers have done this for years of using attention-grabbing to get your attention, so we could get you on here. We could get you onto our page and give you the information it is that we want. A lot of the new stuff, they just want to get you on their site so that way they could then serve more ads to you, and that's how they make money off the ads that are on those websites here. But you're planning on, you don't need to run ads on your websites. Don't run ads on your websites. If you're a realtor and you're running ads on your website, yeah, cool, you might be making a little bit of money from the advertising that you're running on there. But if you're just like sticking random ads from Google AdSense or whatever it is on your website, stop that. If you want to advertise, find mortgage brokers, find inspectors, appraisers, lawn service companies that are relevant to your clients. A curated list almost, but I'll get off my soapbox with the advertising. So you got to grab attention, some sort of headline. And this could be as easy as What if I told you you could own this home for less than what you're paying in rent? Whoa. That's an attention-grabbing headline. What if, and where you're showing a particular home, especially where, again, you're making this specific to target to that particular audience in this particular area, where maybe even some of the people that live here might know where that home even is, or they'll understand where the neighborhood where that home is. And they say, wait a minute, we could live there for less than what we're paying in rent? Can they? Potentially. And that's where, again, that sensational headline will get people's attention, and then that's where you could go into the rest of this process, where you have your interest, where you build your interest, desire, and action. You could look up this ADA model to find more details on it, but essentially this interest section, you're all about building interest in this. You grab the attention, hey, you could own this home, and then okay, interest, hey, you know, there's tons of programs available to help first-time home buyers. There's FHA loan programs, there's this, there's that. They could help you become a property owner. They could help you own your own home. And that's the interest, desire, and then you have the call to action. Now, this is where I want to really get into the timeline of this going from a prospect. And when I say a prospect, meaning a potential client that doesn't even know who you are yet. It's just a potential client for you that could use your services that are out there. And you use your marketing efforts to get these people to come to you, to get them to come out of the woodwork by putting information out there, almost like you're a fisherman, like you're casting a line out there with a little piece of bait on it, that bait being what it is they want. They say, ooh, owning a home? I kind of want that. And so you reel them in now with information. So the next parts of your timeline are all about educating. So they're a prospect, and then you grab their attention. You pique their interest. Another part of this warming up process is a little bit about motivating. Providing some motivation that, hey, you can do this. This is achievable. This is accomplishable. And I could help walk you through step by step. And then maybe also part of this is reviews. Almost think of like a listing presentation. If you've ever done a listing presentation to a seller, you just need to take your listing presentation and turn it into an ad campaign where you're disseminating the information that you would normally give in just one presentation across multiple weeks, multiple months. And you're using multiple mediums to deliver this. You're using ad platforms, the Facebook, Google, YouTube, all these different ad platforms. And then you're also using email, because at some point you're collecting email addresses, so that way you could also not be in just their social media feeds and their search engines, you could also be in their inbox. And then you get their phone numbers, so you could be in their ear or in their text messages. And then you're maybe using more digital platforms, so maybe you've integrated Zoom or FaceTime or Skype or one of these platforms to be able to have face-to-face meetings virtually. This technology exists. This technology is out there. And if anything, this is just going to make you a better prepared professional by being able to add this to your arsenal. Worst case scenario, you go learn how to use all this digital technology and you just don't have to use it in the future. Worst case scenario, you go invest time in learning how to use technology that's going to grow your business. Does that sound like such a worst case scenario? Because a strong digital marketing strategy is going to grow your business in any market, because it'll let you realize what works now for the areas it is that you're targeting. Because throughout this whole process, this can be tracked. You know, there's systems like MailChimp. MailChimp is a great platform for beginner marketers. It's got a great system that integrates with Facebook ad platform to where you could track some of this stuff, and you could start out for free. Or at least I believe they were offering. I'm not getting anything for MailChimp, so go check it out. There's other platforms as well, but just to drop one name in there, because it's a name that you're going to find at the top of the list if you search email marketing is MailChimp. It's easy to use. It's not the most powerful platform out there. It's also not designed specifically for real estate. So that's also something to keep in mind. But for the digital side of things, it works pretty well as a good starting point if you've never done some sort of newsletter system or anything like that. But really, again, tracking is the key. So you could figure out what works. What emails are people opening? What emails are people clicking on? What links are people most interested in pursuing? And so all that tracking makes this possible. And again, you've got to deliver this information at various points. And if you don't deliver this through your marketing, you're having to deliver it in person. Why do you not want to do that? Because it's more time consuming to deliver the same exact information in person when you could also effectively, maybe even more effectively, deliver it through digital advertising, delivering it via email. Because as you talk to somebody, as you sit down and have a conversation with somebody, they're not always engaged with exactly what you're saying. Their mind might wander. They might think of other things. They might have questions they're thinking of as you talk to them. And they can't just press pause on you. Whereas if you send them a little video, you could press pause, you could rewind it, you could fast forward it, you could replay it, you could go and replay it for your spouse, show it to them, see what their thoughts are on this. Share it with a friend or family member. Say, hey, do you think this guy looks legit? Do you think this person is really all they say they are? Do you think this would be a good person to use for real estate? These are all questions they might have in their head if you're having a face-to-face conversation. Whereas if you package this information up and you put it on a shelf, basically, where you move that shelf in front of this consumer for them to pick up that information if they so choose. And the people that are picking up your information, the people that you grab their attention, where they're reading more, and this is the aspect of where it's good to have articles on your website, blog posts on your website, or video pages, or specific pages where, again, you could track what content somebody is interested in. And based on what content they're interested in, you could form these assumptions, which are not always correct, but you could form these assumptions about what specific services might be more applicable to them and develop your marketing strategy around that particular consumer. This is just scratching the surface of the potential that exists out there for utilizing these tracking systems effectively. And there's so many systems out there that have this power. And so it's not what system is the best one to use, because there's tons of them out there that have tracking capabilities. It's which one is going to work best for you, which one is the easiest to use for you. Maybe one of them, if you're more computer tech savvy, you might want to build a whole system yourself, whereas if you're brand new to this, you might just want to maybe pay a little extra money and have a built for you system that is just going to work. And there's tons of companies out there that offer all of those. Look, we're going to take a quick break. Stick with us, though. I've got a little bit more to share with you guys on online marketing.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Christmas. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. And look, just wrapping up what we've been talking about today for online marketing. So, again, you want to develop the key takeaways from today. Because we could talk about a lot more, but we've already got some takeaways that you need to start building a strategy around, and you start formulating this step by step. And we'll continue doing more of these about online marketing and building out an online marketing strategy. But think of the target audience. Think of the niche. This strategy alone is going to help you develop a better advertising strategy, whether that's print advertising or digital advertising. Any sort of advertising you do by further defining your target audience. And this is where you've got to, again, match up the capabilities that exist out there. Now, you might have a list of people that are past customers. You could upload that list directly into Facebook and target ads specifically to those people. Or maybe people that look like those people. There's something really powerful with Facebook ads called a lookalike audience, where you upload your best customers into Facebook and they go try to find more people just like them based on all the parameters that they could use to try to match up these people. So tons of capabilities out there, but think of, again, who your ideal client is, and then start looking into these platforms and figure out, okay, how can I try to target this ideal client? And now the second part of that is, what am I going to say to this client? What do I say to this profile, to this particular type of buyer or seller or renter or landlord or whoever, again, it is that you're targeting your advertisement to? What's going to grab their attention? What's going to pique their interest? What do they need to hear to motivate them? What can you show them to prove to them that you are good at what you do? Reviews, social proof, proving to them that you're good at this, and then ultimately setting an appointment. And that might mean a virtual appointment. That could be through Zoom or Skype or one of these platforms that allow you to connect with people virtually. If you hang on to that, that is something that will make you immensely more efficient as a real estate professional. And you've got a great advantage right now because people are being forced basically to use these telecommunication platforms. So there's no better time than now to adopt a telecommunication strategy to be able to run your whole real estate business from home. The technology is out there. It's never been easier because it's being forced on us right now. So take advantage of that to be able to learn how to use this technology, because even once all the dust settles and everything is over and things go back to normal, whatever that normal looks like in the future, even if you don't have to use these online platforms, they're going to make your business more efficient. People that were using these previously use them even though they didn't have to, because it made their business more efficient for clients. They could get to use these digital electronic signatures and things like that. And now the thing that's different is, okay, we've got to use these systems if we are still going to do business today for when people need to buy or sell right now. But look, everybody doesn't need to buy or sell right now, but now's a great time to start finding clients. They're going to need to buy and sell in 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. If you're still planning on being in real estate in the future, you need to constantly be building your customers of the future, and that's what a good online strategy allows you to do. That you could generate this lead and then start warming the lead up and really make this lead a believer in everything it is that you could do and everything it is that your business stands for. So when it comes time to make a decision, they've basically all but made their decision because they're already sold on you. And what this marketing strategy will do when it's built out effectively is it's either going to get you the customers you're looking for, and the people that are not in your target audience, that don't align with what it is that you stand for and what you're trying to do and what you could do to serve them, they'll fall out of the funnel. With a good strategy, the customers that you probably don't want are not going to be in your funnel, because you've already educated them maybe on what they can do and what they cannot do and what this process looks like and the information that's important. If you've had issues in your real estate business, if you've been running a real estate business and you've had problems come up, you have problems come up that you know that, if they just knew this, that wouldn't have ended up being a problem. You could use the marketing to vaccinate, to use a relevant word right now, to vaccinate against these problems in the future. The vaccine exists. Your information is the vaccine about problems bigger down the road. You figure out what are these common speed bumps that I run into in my business, and how do I ensure that my potential clients know how to avoid these problems before it's even a problem. And then what you do is you then further are able to develop an even more efficient business, because your marketing not only generates you leads, but it helps you develop and find the ideal customer. Because the ideal customers, they're going to be lined up and saying, John, I'm ready. Hey, John, I've been loving your videos. I've been loving your content. I'm ready to do business with you. With an effective online marketing strategy, you could do that. But you've got to make sure the messaging is targeted towards the people that need that messaging. Again, the people living here aren't concerned about selling their home if they're just renting. If they're just a renter in an apartment, they don't need to sell a home. You don't want to give them ads about selling their home, because guess what? They don't own a home to sell. So, yes, you might have the one or two people that are like, ooh, let's check this out, because someday I want to own a home. But then by the time they finally get to buying a home and then owning a home, they might even go buy a home with somebody else because you didn't give them information about buying a home. So they go do their research online and they go find somebody else. Whereas if you had proper messaging set up, you could have delivered that information that was most applicable to your target audience. So you got to know your target audience and develop messaging, develop a campaign, develop a strategy to make sure you get them all the information it is that they need over time. And what that allows you to do is educate your client. Now, the attention stage up here, education does not always garner attention. People see education. It's a sad truth that people see education and they question whether or not it's worth it. Which is understandable, because there's a lot of misinformation and bad education that's out there. We grew up on being taught things that we were directly told you're never going to have to use. To get a real estate license, you might have been told some of the information in there, depending on the type of real estate you're practicing, you're never going to use. So we always have that intentional initial hesitation when we're trying to learn new information. Is this relevant? Or maybe you had a bad experience with information in the past where the person giving you that information has been a fraud and didn't know what they were talking about and was giving you false information. And so maybe you were given bad information and then you acted on that bad information and you lost money or you were injured somehow and you didn't want to do that again because you had bad information. So you have all these things that hold you back from wanting to seek out information, not just us as a professional trying to better ourselves, but also as the general public. People aren't going on Facebook to be educated. People are going on Facebook to be entertained. People are going on there to connect. The internet is how we connect right now. Digital is how we connect right now. So people are going on there to connect with other people, to be entertained, to forget about bad things happening, to forget about even bad things happening in their own life, despite what might be going on in the world, to get information that's relevant, maybe, they're going on social media for. But primarily they're going on there to be entertained. That's what they're scrolling. That's what keeps them scrolling, is entertainment. That's what makes them want to go back for more, is entertainment. So that attention aspect of it, you might have to be a little entertaining. But then once you capture their attention initially, that's where you could start to shift gears into a more informational perspective. And with as much money as every client is worth to us, even for just one transaction, you really should be doing everything you can to guide them through this process. Because that's what sets apart a professional from an amateur. A professional is calm, cool, collected, and knowledgeable. And they might not have all the answers, but when they don't have the answers, they know the people that need to get in touch. But you might not even seem like there's any time to where, oh, this person doesn't know what they're talking about, because they know so much that's applicable to your situation. So when you're tuned in to, again, what your clients are interested in, what they actually want, and your tracking information can tell you this information of what ads people are clicking on. They might not click that ad. That sounded like a great ad when I pitched that one to you earlier. What if I told you you could own a home? What if I told you you could have a mortgage payment less than your housing payment? And maybe you think that's a great ad. What if your mortgage could be less than your rent? What if I told you you could own this home for less than what you pay monthly in rent? But maybe nobody clicks on that one. Why? Who knows? Maybe it was the picture of the house. Maybe it's the way you phrase that sentence. These are all things you could test to figure out what the true answer is to that. It's refreshing to get an answer. It's refreshing to have data that validates what you're doing. It validates that it's something that works or validates that it's something that does not. You don't have to guess. I mean, you guess a little bit when you're making these ads, but then you use the data to figure out, okay, which ones are the winners? Which one is the winner and why is that the winner and why not this one? And then that's where you start to hone in more on, again, what that target audience, what information they're looking for. Now, you got to produce content. You've got to put content out there for this. So I would recommend that primarily through video, because this gives you a great opportunity to develop a relationship with somebody where this can be done on autopilot. Once we're done recording this live, once this live stream ends, this will be on Facebook, on YouTube, on our Success Center for eternity, or as long as Facebook and YouTube are around. And then it'll probably get, if they ever are not around someday, this will probably be on some other platform where me spending, maybe an hour doing this show and then maybe a few hours researching some information before we come on here, that investment of time at the moment might seem like a lot. But then as you start to do this more and you start to develop a library of content where any information people need, you've got information to give to them. That's marketing in 2020. Content, information-based marketing. And again, this allows you to attract your perfect customer, your ideal customer, because you put in this work to have a system that works while you sleep. Because that's what marketing can do. So look, if you've got questions on this, if there's more things it is that you want to know about marketing, put that in the comments section. We'll check that and use that information to develop further episodes of Ask the Instructor, of State of Real Estate, so we can help you develop a successful real estate career, because that's our goal here at Tampa School of Real Estate. That's why we started these live streams years ago, because we wanted a way to get information out there to people that'll help them grow their real estate business. And even if you haven't taken a real estate class with us previously, you could still tune in and watch Ask the Instructor and State of Real Estate and get some tips from us to help you build a successful real estate business. So when you've got to do your post-licensing or continuing education, you're like, hey, I want to go check out Tampa School of Real Estate because I've been watching their videos and they've got great information, and just maybe we'll get your business someday. And if you're already a past student of ours, you're like, yeah, I love Tampa School of Real Estate. We've got all this information that we do every single week. So that's our goal here. Our goal is to help you become successful. And just like you want to know your audience, we want to know you as well. We want to know what it is, what topics it is that you want help on. How can we help you? What information do you need to build a successful real estate career? Maybe you're just brand new to this altogether and you need to start out. Well, we've got a really dialed in strategy to help you get your real estate license and pass your exam on the first try. You can find that whole strategy at passfirsttry.com. It's not a guarantee you'll pass, but it's as close as we could get to offering you a guarantee without offering you a guarantee, because it's illegal for us to offer you a guarantee that you'll pass your exam on the first try. So we give you the next best thing, a strategy that we have tested with thousands of students that walks you through how to study for this exam to set you up for success. So we've got that available at passfirsttry.com, or if you prefer to talk to a person, we're here for you, 813-333-2676. That's 813-333-2676. Call us up. We've got live stream real estate classes going on right now, so if you want to get your real estate license, you could get that course knocked out from the comfort of your home. Even the end of course exam, you can now take that from home online. So huge breakthrough for us that we now have this live streaming capability. So if you want to know what classes we've got coming up, when they'll be, whether that's live streaming, we still have our great on-demand platform as well, or maybe you've already taken the course and you're just waiting for your exam date and you want to do some studying, check out our study tools at passfirsttry.com, or again, call us 813-333-2676. So all the time we've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on Friday for State of Real Estate. Hey, so if you're thinking about starting a real estate career, it could feel a little overwhelming sometimes. Look, that's completely understandable. That's why we're here to help. If you haven't already, check out our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success, or if you don't even know where to begin, give us a call. We'd love to help you out. We've got advisors standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way it is that we can. Our phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. Give us a call. We're the Tampa School of Real Estate.
Do you want a career that allows you to be in control? With a career in real estate, you'll get to call the shots. Whether you're looking at starting part-time or want to become the next top agent, a career in real estate makes it possible. Find out what it takes at tampaschool.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can. Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.